today's class is about cementum. Okay, so it's a very important basic tissues. We are going to see. So objectives of the class: at the end of the class, the student should be able to discuss the definition, development, enumerate the classification, composition, enumerate the composition, and explain about the sharpish fiber, and should be able to differentiate between the various cemental diseases. Definition: cementum is calcified avascular mesenchymal tissue that forms an outer covering of the anatomic root. Okay, the term cementum is derived from the Latin term cementum. Okay, so development of the cementum. This is your Hertwig's epithelial root sheath, HERS. Okay, HERS, Hertwig's epithelial root sheath. So from the extension of this inner and outer layer, this is your inner layer and this is an outer layer. Okay, this is your inner layer and this is an outer layer. From the extension of your Hertwig's epithelial root sheath, the inductive signal will be transferred to your ectomesenchymal pulp cells. Okay, to form a predentin, to differentiate, to secrete a predentin, which will be differentiated into odontoblast. Okay, so this odontoblast finally it will okay, so differentiated into the odontoblast. What will happen? So dental follicular cells which will come in contact with your dentin. Okay, the cementoblast lay down the cementum. Okay, so this is a small presentation. The cementum blast will form the cementum. Okay, this is the presentation how the cementum is formed. The root is formed initially. Okay, so this is your Hertwig's epithelial root sheath. Okay, and this is your pulp tissues. So once the tooth is inside the bone, the root is started forming. Okay, so there are two types of cementum: acellular cementum and the cellular cementum. The first formed cementum is as acellular cementum. What will happen? See, this is your Hertwig's epithelial root sheath, the inner layer and the outer layer to the dental follicle. Okay, what will happen? It will send the ectomesenchyme sends the inductive signal to confirm the to change the to secrete a predentin. So the inductive signal is being released to secrete a predentin, differentiated into the odontoblast. Okay, can you see this? So odontoblast. So what will happen? There is a lot of attached protein will be there. Hertwig's epithelial root sheath will interfere right now. Okay, so in this, so once the proteins, lot of proteins are important to develop a cementum. Okay, so what will happen? The proteins will attract the cell-to-cell interaction or cell-to-cell matrix. Okay, so adhesion is very important. The proteins are very important in adhesion. Okay, so once the proteins are released from your predentin or dentin, okay, it is been attracted by your fibroblast cells, and this is your fibroblast cells. It gives signal to their fibroblast cells. The adhesion proteins will be released. The fibroblast cells will come and attach to your cementum. Okay, the fibroblast cell will come and attach to your cementum, and which forms the periodontal ligaments fibers, and lay down cementoblast lay down the cementum. I mean, this is a cementoblast which lay down the cementum. Okay, and your cementoblast is responsible for the formation of intrinsic fibers. Okay, so these fibroblasts which lay down the fibers, it is called as extrinsic fibers. Okay, so what will happen? The fibroblast will produce a periodontal ligament fibers, will also attach to your acellular cementum. So this acellular cementum contains a extrinsic fiber which is formed by your periodontal ligament, and the cementoblast, which lays down their intrinsic fibers, which is in the matrix. Okay. So two types of cementum, acellular cementum and the cellular cementum. The acellular cementum, it is a first formed cementum, as I said. This is a dentin and this is a acellular cementum. It approximately covers the cervical third of the half of the root. Okay, it does not contain cells. Okay, cellular cementum. Cellular cementum formed after the tooth reaches the occlusal plane. So, as I already told you, acellular cementum which forms before your tooth eruption, and cellular cementum will form after the tooth reaches the occlusal plane and contains cells. Okay, and it has an individual lacunae with the cells. Okay, it has a communication. It has a communication throughout the system of anastomosing canaliculi. Can you see this communication between the two cells? Okay, the cellular cementum is less calcified than your acellular cementum. Okay, definition of the cementum: it's a calcified mesenchymal avascular tissue surrounding the root surface, and calcification of the cementum, classification of the cementum: acellular, afibrillar cementum, acellular extensive fiber cementum, cellular mixed stratified cementum, and cellular intrinsic fiber cementum or intermediate cementum. Biochemical composition: organic or inorganic content. Organic content is collagen and non-collagenous proteins and other substances like your cemental attachment proteins and all these things. Organic is collagen type 1, 90%, and type 3 is 5%, and inorganic content is like bone silo proteins or osteopontin, osteonectin, fibronectin, all these things. Okay, and cemental attachment protein and growth factors also will be present. Okay, so sharp piece fiber, which is the embedded portion of your fiber, pyramidal ligament fibers in your cementum and alveolar bone, which is formed by the fibroblast, which is considered as an extrinsic fiber, which is highly calcified. Only in the apical area, the calcification is less. Okay, it is more seen in your coronal aspect on the acellular cementum. Cemental incremental lines, which is a line which is demarcating your cellular and acellular cementum. Okay, so which lies on long axis parallel to the long axis of the tooth. And moving on to the cemento-enamel junction. So, cemento-enamel junction, do you remember the 3 points? Once the cementum overlaps the enamel, okay, or butt joint, H to H meet, or doesn't meet. Okay, the highest chances in cementum overlaps the enamel. Cemento-dentinal junction, which is present in your apical third of the root, so which doesn't which go with the changes in the increase or decrease in your age. Okay, so cemental resorption, bay-like resorption with the multinuclear cells, giant cells will be present in surrounding area. Okay, do you remember that bay-like formation? Okay, cemental resorption can occur. Okay, so apart from that, for repair, you need a cementoblast. You need a cementoblast to get activated by your proteins. So apart from that, you need a epithelial cell recess of molasses, which will epithelial cell recess of molasses to remnants of epithelial cell recess of molasses to produce your amylogenins or to secrete amylogenins or other secret matrix proteins, amylogenin or enamelin, all these things, protein sheath, all these things to form the newly formed cementum or to regenerate the cementum or repair the cementum. Cemental diseases, so hypercementosis, excessive formation of the cementum; ankylosis, so complete obliteration of your periodontal ligament space. So cementum and the bone will be fused together, and developmental anomalies like your enamel pearls or enamel pearls or cementoids, all these things, and the cemental lesions. And I have told you about the cemental lesions. And root surface wall, what are the changes which occurs in the root surface wall. Okay, these are the points to be remembered in the class. So when there's a essay about the cementum, you have to write about the definition, classification of the cementum, and explanation of the classification of the cementum is mandatory. Okay, so acellular cementum does not contain the cells, or afibrillar cementum does not contain the fibers, or cellular cementum which cellular matter mixed cementum which contains both the extensive fibers and the intrinsic fibers. You have to explain everything. So what is the thickness of the cementum in acellular cementum? What is the thickness of the cellular cementum? So all these things you have to explain completely. So start with your definition, development of the cementum, and classification of the cementum, biochemical composition, Sharpie's fibers, incremental lines, cemento-enamel junction, cemento-dentinal junction, cemental resorption and regeneration. Okay, you have to talk about everything. If they add a note on cemental diseases, if they ask like that, you have to add a note on cemental diseases too, or otherwise With this is more than enough. Okay, with the development of the newer concept of the regenerative cementogenesis, it needs us for us to understand the basic tissues should be realized and implemented. Thank you.